I never thought a job at Walmart could mess me up this bad. But even now, over a year later, I still can't step into one of those stores without breaking into a cold sweat. I was 19, going to Cisco College just outside Abilene, Texas. School wasn't crazy expensive, but between rent, gas, and groceries, money got tight. So, I picked up a night shift stocking shelves at the local Walmart. Midnight to 8 a.m., it sounded like easy money quiet. No customers, just shelves and scanners. At first, it really was that simple, peaceful, even. I liked the silence, the routine. My crew was small. Chris worked the electronics section and handled the security cameras. Tina stocked the grocery side. Ron was the janitor, an older guy who barely spoke but cleaned like clockwork. And then there was Donna, our supervisor. No-nonsense type. All business. Definitely not the kind to entertain ghost stories or weird vibes. The first few weeks were uneventful. Long, dull nights. The buzzing from those overhead lights made the store feel like some kind of sterile dream. The creepiest thing I dealt with was organizing the clearance aisle. Then October 17th happened. That night started normal. I was in the toy aisle, cutting open boxes of Hot Wheels and Lego sets. Around 2:30 a.m., I heard something. Only this time, it was closer. I spun around. Nothing. Just dark freezers humming behind me. Frozen pizzas. Shelves of Eggo waffles. I didn't walk, I booked it to the back. When I got to Chris, he looked freaked out, pale, sweating. He rewound the camera footage. Watch this, and there I was, on screen, in the toy aisle. But in the corner of the frame, something moved. A kid, barefoot, wearing light-colored pajamas, but the face wasn't right. It was like the camera couldn't focus on it, just this blur. And when the kid moved, the whole image shimmered like static. Then they walked behind a shelf and vanished. Chris whispered, "I saw them again." In the garden section. Then the camera froze. I couldn't think. My brain kept trying to make it logical, but I knew what I heard, what I saw. We decided to go get Donna. She was near the pharmacy, checking paperwork. We told her everything, what Chris saw, what I heard. She didn't even blink. "Probably a mouse tripping the camera," she said. "You two need sleep." Typical Donna. But later, in the break room, Ron walked in during his smoke break. He looked uneasy, which was weird, 'cause Ron never showed emotion. "I heard y'all talking about a kid," he said. We nodded. "I saw him too, couple years back. Little boy, pale, standing by automotive around 3 a.m., just watching me mop. Didn't move, didn't say a word." I blinked, and he was gone. He took a shaky drag from his cigarette. Back in the 80s, this place was a Woolco. They say a kid went missing in here, was with his mom, turned a corner, and vanished. Store locked down, police searched every inch. No sign of him, no camera footage. Just gone. My blood went cold. Then Tina came in. She looked like she'd seen a ghost. "I just heard crying," she said. In aisle 12, a little boy, he sounded sad. We all grabbed flashlights and checked it out. The air felt wrong, cold, thick, like walking into a freezer. The crying stopped when we got close. Then the store speakers cracked pop. It was static at first. And then a voice, soft, raspy, like it was coming through a broken radio. "I'm still here." We all just stood there. Nobody near the PA. Donna came storming up, furious, asking who messed with the system. When we told her what happened, she didn't argue. She just walked off, toward the front office. We waited 10 minutes, then 20. Finally, we went to check on her. She was in her chair, staring at the monitors. Mouth moving, no sound. I stepped closer. Donna. She didn't blink. I leaned in and finally heard what she was whispering. "He doesn't like being forgotten." That's when we'd had enough. Chris called the cops. When they got there, Donna was back to normal, but confused. Couldn't remember anything after 2:30 a.m. Chris tried to show the officers the video. But every file from 2:30 to 4 a.m. was corrupted. Just black static. They searched the store, found nothing, said it was probably stress. A prank. Whatever. Chris and I both quit the next day. Since then, I've heard that Walmart's been through at least 5 overnight employees. Some let us walk out mid-shift. One guy apparently had a breakdown in the break room, crying and saying someone kept whispering, "Don't leave me." Sometimes I wonder if that kid's still out there, trapped in whatever space he disappeared into all those years ago. But I don't wonder too long, because some things, whatever they are, they don't want to be found. They want to stay, and sometimes, they want company. If you've ever worked overnight security, you know how dull it can be. Hours drag, nothing happens, you drink too much caffeine. You stare at the same hallways on camera, just hoping something will move, even a rat, just to prove you're not losing your mind. But I had one night where something did move, and I've never looked at a camera the same way again. I used to do asset protection at a Walmart in Rolla, Missouri, small town. The kind of place where everyone knows each other by name, or at least by their truck. I was 20, trying to get through trade school, working midnight to 6 a.m. shifts. Seemed perfect, quiet work, decent money, and during the slow hours, I could knock out homework. That all changed one night in mid-November. It was just after Thanksgiving. Black Friday chaos had finally died down, and the store was calm again. Honestly, too calm. Back then, we locked the doors at midnight. After that, it was just me, a couple of stalkers, a janitor named Leo, and Amy, our overnight floor supervisor. She didn't say much unless she had to, and I liked that about her. That night, I clocked in like normal, grabbed a Red Bull, headed into the surveillance room, a little box tucked behind the electronics section. No windows. For monitors, a wall of wires, and a DVR setup that logged every feed. Everything was quiet until around 1:15 a.m. I was doing a routine sweep of the cameras, just flipping through the aisles, when camera 7 went out. That's the one pointing down the hallway by the employee bathrooms. At first, just static. Then the feed went black. Not unusual, those cameras were ancient. I figured it would flick back on in a second, and it did. But what came back on the screen made me sit bolt upright. There was someone standing in the hallway, a man, tall, wearing a long black coat. Standing dead center in the hallway, perfectly still, just staring straight at the camera. I leaned in and zoomed. His face was wrong. It wasn't like the lighting was bad. It was like the shadows didn't want to let go of him. His face stayed dark no matter how much I adjusted the brightness, like something didn't want to be seen. No one was supposed to be back there. No deliveries, no vendors. Leo had already cleaned that wing. I grabbed my radio. "Hey, Amy. Anyone go back by the employee restrooms just now?" She responded quick. "No, why? I'm seeing a guy on camera." "Big guy, long black coat, just standing there," she sighed. "You're kidding." "I wish I was. Come see." A few minutes later, she walked into the room, clearly expecting some prank. Then she saw the monitor. He was still there. Same spot, still motionless. Then bam, the screen glitched hard. And just like that, he was gone. Not walking out, not fading. Just gone. No transition. Just empty hallway again. Amy and I rewound the footage. Nothing. He didn't walk in. Didn't walk out. He just was. Then he wasn't. We even walked down to the hallway. It was freezing. Like, not store AC cold. Like winter cellar cold. Heavy air. You could feel it. Amy mumbled something about the system glitching. Maybe an old looped recording popped in. I wanted to believe that. I really did. Until it happened again. 2:06 a.m. Another camera dropped. Just 5 seconds of black. Then it came back. This time it was all 17, the hardware section. Same guy, same coat. Only now, he had his back to the camera, just standing there. Facing the shelves, completely still. But here's what messed me up the most. The feed looked broken. Shelves, lights, labels, everything else was glitching and jittering, like that static shimmer you get when a tape is corrupt. Except him, he was clear, still, untouched, like he didn't belong in the feed at all. Amy was already on the phone trying to call the cops when the feed flickered and he vanished again. No motion detection, no sensor triggers, just gone. We ran to the aisle together. Nothing. And then the intercom clicked on. Nobody was at the front desk. Nobody touched the system. It buzzed, static. And then a voice came through. Not loud, not clear, just this soft, ragged whisper. I know you're watching me. Amy dropped her phone. I ran to check the PA system. Switches were untouched. Nothing looked tampered with. But when I got back to the surveillance room, something else had changed. One of my main monitors, the one showing the front entrance, was looping footage. Footage of me. I watched myself walk into the building, grab a Red Bull, sit down at the desk. Then it played again, same exact movements, frame for frame, like someone hit rewind and play on a tape of my own night. I checked the logs. Apparently, someone had scanned a badge into the security room at 1:41 a.m. Only thing was, it was my badge. And I hadn't left the room, and the only door in or out was locked from the inside the whole time. That's when I felt it. Not panic, not even fear. It was this disconnection. Like the night had split in two and I wasn't sure which part I was really in anymore. Amy looked at me and said, "Dead serious. We need to leave this room." We stepped into the hallway. And right then the lights above us started flickering. Not all at once. One by one. Like something was following us down the hallway, blowing them out. We made it to the DVR vault, hoping to pull the outdoor footage. Maybe anything would make sense. We pulled up the parking lot cam, and there he was. 12:46 a.m., the man in the coat. He was walking through the snow, slow and steady. No car, no direction, and get this, no footprints. He walked straight up to the front doors, looked directly into the camera and smiled, not a friendly smile, a knowing one. Then the screen went black, and we never saw him again. After that, weird stuff just kept happening. Cameras glitched between 2 and 3 a.m. every night. The lights in the back hallway wouldn't stay on. Staff started calling out. Leo quit after he swore someone was watching him from under a bathroom stall. Said he saw black shoes just standing there, but when he looked, no one was there. I left 2 weeks later. Amy transferred stores. Before I quit, a regional tech came to inspect the systems. He opened the server and found something bizarre, an unmarked background process. It was pulling old static images from the archive and mixing them into live camera feeds. His words, either someone's messing with you, or this system's been hijacked. But here's the thing, he couldn't trace the source. It wasn't coming from our network, it was just embedded. I haven't worked security since, because I think whatever that thing was, it didn't just show up on the cameras. I think it came through them. And when you stare at static long enough, sometimes it stares back. I never used to believe in ghosts. Not really. I thought all that stuff was for campfire stories and movies. But that was before I started working overnights at the Walmart down in Daphne. Now, I'm not saying I saw a ghost, exactly. But I know I experienced something that wasn't normal. And I'll never set foot in the back stockroom again ever. I started that job in the summer of 2020. My mom had just gotten out of surgery and I needed to help out with the bills. Nights were quiet, the pay was decent, and I figured it was just temporary. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Pretty simple stuff: unload pallets, stock shelves, take a break around 2, and try not to fall asleep by 5. The store itself was old, one of the first Walmarts in the area. It had this weird layout: long back corridors, weird floor dips, sticky doors, and a break room that always smelled like burnt popcorn and moldy bread. You could never quite get used to it. Our crew was small. There was Devin Loud, Friendly guy who always had some country music blasting from a Bluetooth speaker clipped to his belt. Casey super quiet, pale, always looked like he hadn't slept in 3 days. A couple part-timers came and went, but most didn't last long. And then there was Lyle, our shift lead, retired military, in his 50s, super chill. Always had a flashlight on him, even in well-lit areas. That should have been a clue. Things didn't get weird until mid-September. I was working clearance in the back right corner of the store L22, next to the old garden center. It's one of those spots no customers ever really go, even during the day. I was restocking some Halloween leftovers when I heard a voice behind me. A whisper, just one word. Hey. I turned around. Nobody there. I figured it was Devin messing around, but the aisle was empty. I peeked into the next one, nothing. Then I noticed something off. All the stuff I had just shelved, candles, towels, little pumpkin decorations, they were all turned around. Every label was facing backward, toward the wall. I know I didn't do that. I radioed Lyle, asked if anyone was nearby. He said everyone was over in electronics, cleaning up a broken shelf. I was alone. I didn't like that. Not the being alone part, but the feeling that someone had just been standing behind me, watching. I chalked it up to sleep deprivation, took my break early, and tried to move on. But after that, things slowly got worse. The cameras started glitching in the back corridors, not just freezing but looping, like someone would walk down the hallway. Then 2 minutes later, the exact same footage would play again, frame for frame, but no one had actually walked by. Then Casey told me he kept seeing someone in the hallway by the manager's office. Every night, between 3 and 4 a.m., a tall man, wearing an old Walmart vest, not the kind we wear now, but one of those faded denim-looking ones, with a square, silver name tag. I asked him, "Did you ever catch his name?" He shook his head. "No, he's always walking away, toward the back." Now, here's where things clicked for me. I remembered a story someone told me when I first started. Nobody talked about it openly, but it was one of those things that floats around long enough to stick. There used to be a guy who worked there named Harold. He'd been there since the 90s, died of a heart attack in the back stockroom, collapsed while doing inventory. They didn't find him for nearly an hour. Section D4, that's where he went down. After that, no one liked going back there. Boxes would fall on their own. Lights flickered constantly, and some people swore they heard footsteps back there when no one was around. One night, Lyle straight up told me, "Don't go into D4 alone. Ever." I thought he was being dramatic, but he didn't smile when he said it. Then came the night I can't forget. It was a Tuesday in late October. We were short a few people, and Lyle asked if I could pull some overstock from, you guessed it, Section D4. I grabbed a box cutter and flashlight, headed down the back corridor, past the inventory cage, into that part of the stockroom. The lights were dimmer than usual. Even with my phone flashlight on, I could barely read the shelf labels. That's when I saw him, a man, standing perfectly still between two shelves. Walmart vest, not ours. His looked old and worn. His back was to me. I thought it was a prank at first. Or maybe someone from another shift. I called out, "Hey, man. You all right back here?" No response. I stepped a little closer. That's when he turned. Not the way a person turns. His torso twisted just a little too far. His neck rotated at an angle that didn't feel natural. His face was pale, sunken. His eyes weren't angry. They weren't anything, just empty. And then he disappeared. Not walked off, not turned a corner. One blink, and he was gone. I dropped the box cutter and ran. I told Lyle everything. He didn't laugh. He just nodded and said, "That's Harold." 2 days later, I still couldn't sleep. Lyle pulled me aside during break and showed me something. It was a printed security log from 2008, the night Harold died. At 3:09 a.m., the system recorded Harold's badge entering the stockroom, But here's the kicker: every October 17th since then, the system logs that same badge swiping in at 3:09 a.m. Same time. Same code, even though the badge was deactivated years ago. Lyle said after a few years of this happening, corporate just gave up. Told them to delete the records and stop making noise. I asked him, "Why don't you warn new hires?" He said, "Because if I tell people to watch out for Harold, they usually end up seeing him." That was it for me. I gave my 2 weeks. Didn't even make it to the end. On my last night, I was alone in the break room, pouring myself some coffee. There's this little monitor above the vending machine that loops live feeds from the cameras. Suddenly, the screen glitched. And there he was, Harold, standing in the middle of D4. Still, silent, he turned toward the camera, looked right into the lens, and for the first time, he smiled, not a warm smile, not even a fake one. It was crooked, wrong, too wide. Then the screen went black. I didn't even clock out. I walked out the front door, key still in my vest pocket. Some say Walmart has its own ecosystem. It breathes. It remembers. And when the doors close and the lights dim, it changes. Some employees retire, some quit, and some like Harold never leave at all. If these stories made you think twice about late-night shopping, you're not alone. Share with a friend who is not afraid of the dark yet. And don't forget to subscribe for more real American horror stories.